If your digital music equipment is of excellent quality, a dedicated server can further upgrade your setup, like the Rockna Wavelight server. Music servers come in several flavors. The Roon Nucleus servers use Roon Server and Samba to share and connect to the renderer over the network or via regular USB. The synergistic Research Voodoo uses Roon and sends data out via a cleaned-up USB. The small green computer Sonic Transporter series supports a number of streaming protocols and is designed to connect to the renderer over the network, although you can also use the regular USB output to connect to a DAC. The Wavelight server can send music over the network or via a high-quality AES EBU, SPDIF, Toslink or I2S over HDMI to a DAC. So it essentially has an integrated network player. The internal upsampler works via these outputs. Let's see where it fits into your stereo. The Wavelight server needs to be connected to your modem/router via your network. This way it can connect to the internet, so to streaming services, internet radio stations and the smart device you probably use to control the Wavelight server. It sends music over the network to a network player, also called streamer. This needs to be connected to an amplifier via analog interconnects with XLR or RCA connectors. A pair of speakers are connected to the amplifier over speaker cables. In this setup, the Wavelight server can send music from its internal storage to the network player. It can also receive music from streaming services and internet radio and send it to the network player. This is something most network players can do themselves. However, it's easier to control everything from one device, the server. The Wavelength server also features upsampled high-quality digital outputs. This means that you don't need a network player. A digital to analog converter, a DAC, can be connected directly to the Wavelength server via AES EBU, SPDIF, Toslink or I2S via HDMI. In that case, the Wavelight server should be located within short distance of the DAC, say within 2 meters. Like the WaveDream reference network players, the Wavelight server is available in black and silver. The sturdy all-metal cabinet measures 450 by 300 by 65 mm and weighs 9 kilos. The logo on the front lights up when it's powered on. The color and blinking shows the status. A nice metal ball functions as a power button. On the rear we find the ISC mains connection on the right. Then the AES3 digital outputs, AES EBU on XLR, SPDIF on RCA and optical on Toslink. Then there is the I2S on HDMI. Furthermore, there are 2 USB 2 and 1 USB 3, all 3 on USB-A connector and intended for connecting a USB storage medium. You can connect a DAC to it, but it does not offer upsampling as where the digital outputs do. Last but not least, there is a network connector. Removing the lid shows 2 toroidal transformers, feeding 2 separate linear power supplies. One powers the CPU running Rockna OS and the SSD1 and, if present, SSD2. The second transformer and linear power supply powers the master clock and the FPGA that does the audio processing. The space here holds 2 circuit boards. On the upper board we find the R2X7 FPGA, a piggyback-mounted small board holding an Atmel ARM microprocessor and 2 high-quality Crystek clock oscillators, one for 44.1 kHz based sampling frequencies and one for 48 kHz based. The SSD drive is mounted on this plate that offers a second position for an SSD. That potentially offers a total of 16 terabytes of storage. If you're using the Wavelight server solely as a server, connect it to the network and power supply. If you prefer to use it as a renderer and upsampler too, connect one of the digital outputs to your DAC. Then download the Rockna Wavelight server app on your smartphone or tablet. Both Android and iOS apps are available. When you launch the app, it will search for the Wavelight server on your network. If you have more than one Wavelight server, you can choose for which one you want to change the settings. Next, the maximum sample rate for the upsampler via I2S output. You can also have the files converted to DSD. The same goes for the AES3 output, depending on the connection you plan to use. Note that many DACs cannot handle 352 or 384 kHz via AES3 connections. The same applies to DSD. DSD64 usually is the highest. It uses DSD over PCM, DOP for short, and DSD64 needs PCM 192 kHz for transport. AES3 connections are SPDIF, Toslink, and AES-EBU. The upsampler can use linear phase, minimum phase, or hybrid filtering. I preferred hybrid filtering. In the storage menu, you can add network drives such as the Big Sin music volume here, and view the status of the internal drive or drives. In the server menu, you can set which server program is active: Rune Server, Music Player Daemon, Audivana Studio, or Lyric Music Server. The latter is the current name for Logitech Media Server and works with Squeezebox players. Only one can be selected. In the server menu, you set the rendering protocol. In other words, whether the playback function in the Wavelight server works as a Rune Bridge, UPnP renderer, Open Home renderer, HQ Player NAA, AirPlay renderer, or Squeezelight renderer. The latter is a Squeezebox emulator. In the streaming menu, you can choose between Spotify and Qobuz Connect. In the settings menu, you can view the network settings and serial number, while the update menu displays the installed version and checks for updates. The manual describes in detail how to further configure the server for use with the available protocols. The Wavelight server was connected to the Zixel GS1900-10 HP switch over an EA hybrid EAL2000 Ethernet filter. Also connected to the Zixel switch was the Zixel T56 modem/router, which was connected to the 1 gigabit ODDO glass fiber internet connection via a Nokia media converter. I used the Rockna Wavestream reference signature DAC I reviewed earlier. It was connected to the network over a patch cable to the switch and over an AudioQuest Cinnamon 48 HDMI cable to the Wavestream. It in turn was connected to the Air Acoustics AX520 amplifier over a pair of Grim Audio SQM XLR cables. The PMC FAC12 signature speakers on Stack Audio OVA 17 isolators were connected via AudioQuest Robinhood Zero speaker cables. The PSI AVAA C214 digital active bass strap tightened up the bass. The iPad Pro 2 was used to control the music server software on the Wavelight server. I only used the I2S connection for listening. In my review of the Rockna Wavestream reference signature, I already made clear that its DAC is amongst the best I've heard in my Setup 1A. Using the Wavelight server as a renderer with the upsampler set to hybrid improved the sound quality a small step further. It reduced the stress a bit further. The stereo image was a bit further improved. Not shocking, but still improvements that the true audiophile can appreciate. I had no DAC of slightly less quality at hand, but I expect the effect of the upsampler has an even more influence on the sound quality with a lower quality DAC. The Wavelight server is built very sturdily, offers several server protocols and even more render protocols. You can start off with the Lerian server and Squeezebox renderer to use your old Squeezebox or Squeezelight renderer in the garage or study, while the Wavelight server feeds your main stereo. Or have an open home network player or a UPnP AV receiver to work with the WaveDream server. Or you could buy a license to Audivana or Roon server. The Wavelight server has no forced cooling and thus can be placed in the listening room or living room. Prices start at €6,050 for 2 TB storage, which you can use with a USB drive or NAS if you want more storage, or add an SSD internally. Which brings us to the end of this video. A new one is coming soon, so don't forget to subscribe or follow me on Patreon, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram or TikTok. Patreon and YouTube Premium members get early access and no ads. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it. It really helps. A huge thank you to everyone who supports this channel financially. You keep me independent and keep me motivated. Just €1, pound or dollar makes a difference. It's easily done using the QR code on screen or the links in the description to contribute. I'm Hans Beekhuyzen. Thank you for watching, and whatever you do, enjoy the music.